All right, so today we are going to dive deep into this transcript, DevLand Diaries, the open source revolution.
Okay.
It's a podcast, and this is not your typical tech breakdown.
Mm.
We're really looking at this idea that one person can really spark a movement, kind of like a ripple effect.
I like that.
So we're talking about Michael Kessler,
Okay.
who founded DevLand AI and sliQue Robotics, and his friend Wim Coekaerts, who really kind of changed his thinking.
Yeah, it is interesting how this all unfolds. You've got Kessler, who's super passionate about tech, that it should empower people.
Right.
And then Coekaerts, he's at Oracle, which if you know anything about Oracle, they are known for proprietary systems.
Yeah.
But Coekaerts, he is like championing for open source principles.
From inside Oracle.
Yeah, within that system, like how does that even work?
That's really interesting.
So Kessler talks about Coekaerts' contributions to Linux kernel development.
Okay.
And as you probably know, Linux is really the backbone of so many systems worldwide. And it's really a success because of open source collaboration.
Yeah.
So, Coekaerts being a part of that really challenges this whole assumption that big companies can't be part of the open source movement.
So you've got this weird thing where it's like he is pushing for openness, but in a place where it's normally closed.
Exactly.
So what impact did that have on Kessler?
Well, Kessler actually describes it as a mindset shift.
Oh, wow.
And it's not even just Coekaerts' technical ability, it's more about his philosophy.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he talks about how openness leads to shared knowledge and improvement, and then ultimately more equitable outcomes.
So wait, let's unpack that a little. When we talk about equitable outcomes, what does that actually look like in the tech world?
So think about it this way. In a closed system, all the knowledge, the control, is in the hands of very few people.
Right.
But open source means more people can participate.
Okay.
So it's more of a level playing field.
Right.
And you end up with solutions that meet more diverse needs. And you're less likely to just continue inequalities that are already there.
So it's kind of about pushing back against, like, who has the power in tech, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And that's actually what Kessler is doing with DevLand AI and sliQue Robotics, his companies.
Yeah.
These companies are all about transparency and giving users control.
Right.
It's like a direct counter to the centralized power you see with big tech.
So Kessler's definitely looking towards a future where tech works for everyone.
Absolutely.
But I do wonder, could there be any downsides to this, like radical openness?
Well, that is a great question.
Yeah.
The benefits of open source, there are tons.
Right.
But there are some challenges as well.
Yeah.
Like maintaining these large projects takes a lot of work and resources.
Yeah.
And sometimes security issues can be a little more tricky to fix when things are decentralized.
That makes sense.
So there are definitely some complexities to figure out, even with the best intentions.
So it sounds like Coekaerts really instilled this idea in Kessler that you can change things from within any system.
Absolutely. It's powerful. And it goes way beyond just tech.
Right.
Coekaerts shows us that individual actions matter. Even within a big company, you can inspire others to want change.
It's like a domino effect.
Yeah, exactly.
So that leads us to this big question. How can we use these principles in our own lives? Like, even if we're not coding at these massive companies, can we still do something?
I think that's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
Think about the areas you can have an impact on, like work, your community, even your friends.
Right.
How can you push for more openness, transparency, and collaboration in those spaces?
So it's like even little things, if we're inspired by others, can lead to a much bigger change towards a more open and equitable digital world.
Exactly. And that's a really powerful thought to keep in mind as we learn more about Kessler's story and how he put these ideas into action.
Okay, sounds good. So it's really fascinating how Coekaerts impacted Kessler. It wasn't just about the tech stuff.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like a whole philosophy thing.
Right. Kessler actually talks about how Coekaerts kind of showed him that the real value of technology is in sharing it, letting everyone improve it. That's the whole heart of open source.
So it's not just like giving away your work.
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's more about like realizing that working together often gets you better results.
Right.
Like imagine tapping into this like giant brain.
Yeah.
When we share knowledge, share the actual code, it keeps those big companies honest.
Okay.
And then the products we get, they're better,
Makes sense.
They help everyone, not just a few.
So Kessler actually mentions that he wants his companies, DevLand AI and sliQue Robotics, to be kind of like a counterforce to big tech.
Yeah.
A big goal?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think it's possible?
Well, it's certainly ambitious, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But he's not the only one who wants this.
Right.
There are tons of people, organizations that are pushing for a tech world that's more ethical, more fair. They want users to have more control, you know?
Yeah.
And transparency is super important to them.
So it's like they're using what Cokerts did as like a model.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
They want to build different companies, but also, like, change how we think about tech.
Yeah.
Kessler actually talks about making a space where every developer, every user has a say.
Mm.
And open source can really help do that, you know?
Right.
Breaks down barriers, lets more people join in.
I'm curious, could these ideas work outside of software? Like what about research, education, even the government?
Ooh, that is an exciting thought.
Yeah.
Imagine if those fields were more open, more collaborative.
Right.
We could see, like, medical breakthroughs happen way faster.
Wow.
Or everyone in the world could have access to education.
That would be incredible.
Yeah, the potential for good is huge.
So it all comes back to this, like, challenging how we do things, pushing for openness, and working together.
Exactly. Kessler actually tells people in the podcast to get involved, you know?
Oh, really?
Like, join open source projects, contribute to those communities,
Okay.
and never stop questioning the way things are.
It's like he's saying we all have a role to play in shaping technology,
Yeah.
no matter if we're tech experts or not.
Right. Even something small, like sharing an article or supporting a project, it all helps.
It's that ripple effect again.
Exactly, just like how Cokerts inspired Kessler.
Yeah.
Little actions become big changes. What if everyone did something?
That's a great point. We've been talking about all these big ideas, but like, what are some examples of open source working in the real world?
Oh, there are so many.
Okay.
In medicine, you have people building medical devices that are open source, so they're cheaper and more people can get them.
Wow.
In education, there are platforms and tools that anyone can use for free and change them however they need to.
Interesting.
Even things like farming or protecting the environment, they're using open source tools for that too.
It's really changing things project by project.
It is, and it feels like it's getting bigger all the time.
Yeah, I think so too.
More people are realizing that working together and having access to information, it's powerful.
Right.
Like Kessler says, every line of code we write, every bug we fix, it all builds towards this future where tech benefits everyone.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, it's really cool to see open source having such a big impact. And I think what's really interesting is that, we don't have to wait for the big guys to do it.
Right. It's like Kessler says, we can all make a difference, like right now.
So whether we're, coding or just talking about these ideas or pushing for more transparency at work, there's a lot we can do.
Exactly. And it's not even always about being like a tech genius. It's about being willing to say, hey, maybe we should do things differently, you know?
Like Cokerts.
Mm.
He showed us that you can change things from the inside, even in a huge company.
Yeah.
He started something and inspired other people to keep going.
It's like that saying, be the change you want to see. It's what they both did. It's a call to action for all of us, you know?
This has been a really cool look at open source and how one person can really make a difference.
It shows that technology is a tool, and we get to choose how we use it. We can use it to empower people, or we can use it to control them.
It's our choice. And I'm really inspired by what Kessler and Coekarts are doing. They're working towards a future where tech helps everyone, where knowledge is free, and we all work together.
And if we all just take a small step in that direction, just imagine what we could achieve.
That's a great point. So to everyone listening, what's one thing you can do today to help build a more open and equitable digital world?
There are so many possibilities. Let's go make it happen.
That's a great way to wrap things up. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the open source revolution. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep pushing for a better future.